What is going on, everybody? I hope you all are having a very good holiday weekend. Hope you guys have a good Christmas. Hope yesterday's main slate was amazing. It was a very entertaining slate. Very entertaining Saturday night football. Now we have 3 games on Christmas: the Packers, Dolphins, Broncos, Rams, and then to end it, Tampa Bay and Arizona. So the 2 games that I'm really targeting is Green Bay, Miami, Tampa Bay, Arizona. The Denver and LA game is just the easiest way to say is a shit show. There's a lot of injuries. Both teams have not played good this year. Both teams really don't move the ball. I'm more interested in the defenses, if anything, there. But we'll talk about it. So let's start off at quarterbacks. So Tua is $900 more. He's the most expensive quarterback on the slate, rightfully so. I mean, fantasy point wise, like he's beating out all of these guys. But 900 more than the next quarterback going against Green Bay, which is I believe the highest total on the slate. Going to be some good weather. I expect it to be a very good competitive game. Hopefully both offenses are able to move the ball and the defenses don't take over. I really hope we start off today with a very good game. So Tua, yes, like he is a quarterback with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, even Mike Gesicki. Green Bay secondary has improved, but overall I don't think they're where they should be. The speed of Miami is just going to be used here. And Miami is just one of the best teams at home the last couple of years, so that's something else to take into consideration. Tom Brady against Arizona. Yes, Arizona without one of their best pass rushers this year, still without Murphy in the secondary. And Tampa Bay needs to they need to win games. They need to make sure that they are in the playoffs this year, and against a very banged up Arizona team, I think that's doable. So Tom Brady 6,100. Yes, it's not the greatest, and we're not getting the Tom Brady we did last year. But I say it, the volume that he gives out, it's not a bad play at all. Aaron Rodgers, though, I think is the quarterback that I'm targeting most at 5,900. We really haven't seen Aaron Rodgers fantasy numbers that like stand out. He's had 1 game on DraftKings, it looks like, over 20 points. Statistically, like going to actual NFL stats, like you go to his quarterback rating, it's not that bad. But for fantasy numbers, which we talk about, it's not the greatest. This is a must-win for both teams. Miami still trying to hold on to a playoff spot, and Green Bay trying to get a playoff spot, which is doable now. It's all on them. They have to win this game, though. We're seeing Green Bay healthy, weapon-wise. Looks like they're going to be without their I'd say he's an all-pro tackle. He's one of the best tackles in the league, in Bakhtiari. And with him being out, yes, like you're going to see Bradley Chubb going against their rookie tackle, I believe, is who is going to fill in there. But overall, Aaron Jones, they're starting to use A.J. Dillon more. Aaron Rodgers for 5,900 is probably the quarterback I'm taking. Staying away from Russell Wilson against the Rams, although I think he's a pretty good tournament play. I'm just going to stay away from it in total. Baker Mayfield here against Denver. I'm taking Denver's defense. It's a defense to really go for in this slate. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Trace McSorley down here at 4,800. I do think is playable. Dean is out. Vita Vea is out. They're missing some pieces. I think he is playable, but only in tournament. I wouldn't take it if you're playing 50-50s or double-ups. I wouldn't take it. If you're playing tournaments, you're playing quite a few lines, I definitely get some exposure to him. Running backs now. Aaron Jones against Miami is a yes for me. Believe I've said it, and most of the time it usually comes back to backfire on me, of liking teams and seeing game scripts, like kind of seeing where defenses have played against similar running backs and played at home and all this stuff. Aaron Jones, yes, it's a good game script for him. James Conner at 7K, yes, as well. I know you're paying up for James Conner. But with Vita Vea being out, McSorley being in, someone like James Conner, who is a dual threat running back, is definitely a play for me. Look at his numbers; they pretty much say that all that needs to be said there. So definitely a play for me. Raheem Mostert against Green Bay, yes. If Jeff Wilson ends up being out, then it's a very good yes of Raheem Mostert against Green Bay. Green Bay just can't ever have a good rush defense. They can't. It's almost impossible. I can't remember the last time they had a really good one. It's been a few years. But Raheem Mostert, especially if Jeff Wilson's out, becomes, yes, a play. Leonard Fournette, 5,800 against Arizona, yes. Like, I am probably going to have 3 running backs in lines tomorrow. You go to the wide receivers, and yes, there's a lot of wide receivers too, and you could play 4 wide receivers maybe, but I'd rather, with all the opportunities here, just tackle some of these running backs. Leonard Fournette, I mentioned AJ Dillon. Yes, I like AJ Dillon. His volume has picked up, especially with Aaron Jones back-to-back 20-point fantasy games on DK. 4 touchdowns, sorry. 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games, so definitely picking up in that aspect as well. Latavius Murray against the Rams, watching that injury news. If he is out, or if there's any questions, Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack, over 15 fantasy points the last 2 games. Just getting some weird plays for him. 46, he becomes a very good value play. Wide receivers, Tyreek Hill against Green Bay, yes. The matchup's not the greatest of who will be, but we saw last week against the Bills, it's almost impossible to stop Tyreek Hill. It's very hard. Tyreek Hill pretty much stops himself, and he doesn't stop himself that much. So, Tyreek Hill, yes. DeAndre Hopkins against Tampa Bay, I'd say yes as well. I'm just iffy on the quarterback situation. To put trust there, I'd just rather pay down for someone that I know what I'm getting. Jalen Waddle, I don't know what's been going on with Jalen Waddle. Like, he has a really good game that we could see here against Buffalo. But it's 3 receptions for 114 yards and a touchdown. 2 weeks before, he's got a combined 3. So he's got 6 receptions in the last 3 games. It's not promising. I'm hoping this is a game where that duo that we saw in the beginning of the year of, man, this might be one of the greatest wide receiver duos in a season. It kind of shifted away. Hopefully it comes back. I really hope the game was a very good, high-scoring game. I'm iffy on him. I'd probably rather pay down a little bit for one of these Tampa Bay receivers in this game. Chris Godwin being that guy that I want to get to first. If not, then yes, Mike Evans. The issue that I have with Green Bay wide receivers is I like them all. Like, I like Christian Watson. I really like Allen Lazard. Allen Lazard has been like one of my favorite receivers to target. It's just, you look at his numbers in the beginning of the year to lately, and like, he's not putting up great fantasy point numbers. He's almost in a way, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm comparing it, but a Cooper Kupp in a way. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is one of the best route runners, one of the best receiving receivers as well. But he's also one of the best blocking wide receivers in the league, which is crazy for how much volume he gets. It's almost in the same way for Allen Lazard. It's clear that someone like a Romeo Doubs, who, comes back from his injury, 5 targets, 55 yards, just immediately gets back there. Randall Cobb is another guy they have there. But yeah, all the Green Bay wide receivers I like. It's pretty hard not to like them. Courtland Sutton, if he, like, I like Jerry Jeudy over Courtland Sutton. Don't get me wrong. But we're looking at some numbers without Russell Wilson, and we're looking at injury numbers as well. But when Russ is in, Courtland Sutton is that number 1 guy, and at 4,900, that's the discount that you get. Now Sutton ends up being out. yes, Jerry Jeudy at 5,900 definitely becomes a very good play, especially if you're paying up for, a Tyreek Hill, Chris Godwin, Hopkins, Waddle. Like, yes, like you have the Green Bay wide receivers, then you have someone like Jerry Jeudy. I know I said I'm, probably staying away from it. But if Sutton's out, we already know that Hinton's out. Hamler is it's bad there. It is bad there. So those guys being out just makes me like Jerry Jeudy if all of them are out. Mentioned Romeo Doubs, Randall Cobb, yes. Van Jefferson, I'm staying away from the Rams. They are just so banged up everywhere. I'm just going to go Denver and, Bronco country, let's ride. Hopefully it goes. Tight ends now. Tyler Higbee against Denver. I'm just going to, just stay away from that game. Robert Tonyan, 3,700, is one of the guys that I'm targeting. But I think Trey McBride here at 3,200 is the guy that I'm going for. I mentioned earlier about, unsure with quarterback, but Trey McBride getting that tight end, the tight end work without, Tampa Bay missing one of their best players on defense that covers tight ends. I like Trey McBride in this matchup. I think the pressure that Tampa Bay brings is going to make McSorley use McBride, and at 3,200, you get a pretty good price. I'd like to play one of these Tampa Bay tight ends. You're going against one of the worst, if not the worst, defense against tight ends. But Cameron Brate, the last 3 weeks, has gotten 4 or 5 targets. And you look at Cade Otton in that same thing, 10-5-1. So it seems like he's kind of dropped off. And I don't want to say that just because of the matchups. I believe this is a game where Tampa Bay tight end, if not both, are going to have a good game. It's just taking that risk. So that's, for me, it's pretty much between Robert Tonyan and Trey McBride on the tight end aspect. Defense, the Broncos defense. I'm going to try to make a line. I want to see what line we can make. I usually don't do these for the slates, but it being Christmas, I'm just going to say we're going for it. So let's put McBride in there. Let's go to the running backs. Let's see what we can make. I want to get James Conner in there. That is for sure. And I want to get Raheem Mostert in there. So wide receivers. So for wide receivers, I want to see if I can get Godwin and Tyreek. Leaves us with 42, so there's not a lot to really go for at 42 that we can afford. There's Randall Cobb. I think Randall Cobb interests me. I think he does. Let's put Romeo Doubs. We get 3,800. We can get a Robert Tonyan double tight end stack. I don't think I really like that. But if we're going with Rodgers and want to have a stack, Robert Tonyan has not gotten the love he's previously gotten fantasy number wise. So it's hard to say. I just wanted to see what we could do there really quick, just off the top of the head. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hope it did help. If it did, leave a like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend.